Welcome, World Hoppers. Today I have some really exciting announcements to share from yesterday's State of Sanderson, including 2 new Cosmere Stories that you can order today. So we're going to cover everything pretty quickly so you can get up to date on everything that you need to know. Now, the first thing you might already be aware of is that Brandon Sanderson's company, Dragonsteel, has been working on getting together a Wheel of Time, the first book, Eye of the World leather edition, and this edition, from what we've seen, looks extremely nice. Honestly, one of the best looking leather editions of a book like this I have ever seen, and it is now on pre-sale as of yesterday. Now, during yesterday's live stream, Brandon discussed that 50% of the copies of this leather bound have already been purchased by the end of the first day, and he expects for it to sell out by around mid-January given its current pace. He also mentioned that if you don't order in this time window, they will still be making additional printings, but it is very likely those additional printings will not come this year. So if you want that leather edition of Eye of the World and you want it this year, I would suggest making sure to pre-order yours sooner rather than later. The second thing, which he had already covered previously, but I want to cover again, is that he will be having his Kickstarter for a brand new secret novel, as well as a collection of Hoid stories in March. And yes, this is a completely whole other book called The Fires of December, and similar to some of his other secret projects like Tress, it is going to be told by Hoid. So make sure to keep your eyes for more details on that. Now, speaking of new books, he also discussed that this year's new leather edition isn't going to be a Cosmere book, but instead will be the leather edition of his Skyward novel, the first in his Cytoverse series, and that should be available towards the end of 2026. He also gave us an update to timelines regarding new books in the Cytoverse universe. That includes the new series that's coming, that's co-written between Jancy Patterson and Brandon Sanderson. The name of those series of books he announced will be called Riftwake, with the first book of the series called Blightfall arriving later this year. He also gave us an updated projected schedule of his books that he's working on and when he plans to release them. If you look through this is very similar to the one that he put out last year. The only main difference is actually he removed some of the books that he had planned for in this timeline, specifically the Elantris sequels. And he explained it's not because he's not going to be writing them, but he's less sure of the timeline for what he can or cannot do, especially as he tries to pitch some of his works towards movies and TV shows and things that he wants to be actively involved with. My guess is that he will probably still write all of these books, but I think in Brandon Sanderson's mind, he always likes to kind of shock and awe and over deliver rather than promise and not deliver on what he promised. So I think he's removing those just in case. But if you follow Sanderson at all over the past 15, 20 years, you'll know that the guy likes to write a lot, and I anticipate there'll be a lot more coming out than what's just on this schedule. And finally, the most exciting part that I think is that there are 2 brand new Cosmere Stories finally available for purchase. You can go to the Dragonsteel website, I'll put a link below, and you can order it right now. And that is this collection of these 2 stories. One is Elscaller, which follows Jasna Kholin, and the other one is called King Lopen, which I'm sure you can guess who that book is written about. Now, those were originally written as part of a story deck card collection. You could collect all the cards to get this story, but they finally put them all together in a physical edition for those of us who don't have those cards. So you can go to Dragonsteel right now and place that order. One note though, it's really hard to find. It does not seem like they're making a really big deal about this, and they haven't really put out a lot of announcements about this. And you go to the book category, it's all the way hidden in the back. I don't know why they did this. Maybe there's just not that much inventory right now and they don't want to hype it up and then have it sell out super quick. I'm not sure, but make sure to check it out. It says it's a collection, but it also has pictures of 2 different books. So I don't know if those 2 are combined together into one little collection that includes both stories, or if they're 2 separate small short story books. If you find out, let me know. Also, he did a full 2-hour live stream for his birthday yesterday, where he did basically nonstop answering, spoiler field questions for anybody who wanted to ask anything about the Cosmere. And he laid out some bombs. And what I'm going to be doing, and make sure to subscribe if you're interested in the Cosmere and learning more about the lore and everything that's going on and all the updates, because he talked about a ton of really cool stuff. And I'm going to be breaking down some of the most interesting parts of that 2-hour live stream in the next video. And when it's posted, I'll put it up right here. All right. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.